It was never supposed to matter. People came and went in Ethan Blake's world like passing shadows, faces without names, voices without weight, lives without consequence. His mansion stood on a hill like a monument to control, glass walls reflecting a city that feared and admired him in equal measure. Inside, everything was precise, curated, untouchable. Except for the girl he barely noticed. And the mistake he would never be able to undo. Hello, my people, wherever you're watching from, Lagos, London, New York, Nairobi, I see you. How are you doing today? I hope you're holding on, pushing through, and believing in something bigger than your current situation. And if you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe. Stories like this. They're not just entertainment, they're mirrors, lessons, warnings, and sometimes, healing. Now tell me. What happens when the person you treat like nothing becomes everything you can never have again? Amara Dawson stood in the quiet hallway of a house that didn't feel like a home. The marble floors were cold beneath her worn shoes, polished to a shine so perfect she could see her reflection, tired eyes, guarded expression, a quiet dignity that refused to break no matter how hard life pressed against it. She adjusted her uniform slightly, fingers trembling just enough to betray the storm inside her. This job mattered. No, this job was survival. The scent of expensive cologne lingered faintly in the air, mixed with the sterile cleanliness of a place maintained but never lived in. Somewhere in the distance, a clock ticked with mechanical precision, each second echoing louder than it should. Amara inhaled slowly. She had learned to make herself small. Invisible. Efficient. Because invisible people didn't get hurt. Or at least, that's what she believed. Upstairs, Ethan Blake stood by the window of his office, staring out at the city like it owed him something. Tall. Imposing. Impeccably dressed. And completely alone. His phone buzzed against the glass desk, but he ignored it. Calls meant demands. Expectations. Weakness disguised as opportunity. He didn't have time for weakness. His jaw tightened as memories brushed against the edges of his mind, things he had buried under years of ambition and control. Betrayal. Loss. The kind of pain that taught a man never to trust what he couldn't own. That was his rule. Own everything. Feel nothing. Downstairs, a tray slipped slightly in Amara's hands, the faint clink of porcelain breaking the silence. Ethan's eyes flicked toward the door. Annoyance surfaced instantly. Carelessness. He stepped out of his office, his footsteps measured, deliberate. The kind of presence that made people straighten their backs and lower their eyes without being told. Amara saw him before he spoke. Her heart skipped. Not from admiration. From instinct. Be careful, Ethan said, his voice low, controlled, but sharp enough to cut. I'm sorry, sir, she replied quickly, lowering her gaze. He didn't respond immediately. His eyes lingered on her, not with curiosity, but with assessment. Like he was deciding whether she was worth remembering. She wasn't. To him, she was just another maid. Another replaceable detail in a perfectly constructed life. But something about the way she stood there, quiet, composed, holding herself together with invisible strength, irritated him more than the mistake itself. Because she didn't look broken. And he didn't understand why. Don't let it happen again, he said flatly, turning away before she could respond. Amara exhaled slowly once he was gone, her grip tightening slightly around the tray. That was her life now. Walking on invisible lines. Speaking only when necessary. Existing, without being seen. But deep inside her, beneath the silence and survival, something still lived. Something that refused to disappear. Amara's world slowly revealed itself in fragments. She wasn't just a maid. She was a woman running from a past that nearly erased her. Her father had died under debts he couldn't repay. Her relatives turned their backs. Education slipped through her fingers. Survival became her only language. But she had dreams. Not loud ones. Not foolish ones. Quiet, stubborn dreams. To build something. To matter. To rise. Clara Winslow saw it. "You don't belong here forever," Clara told her one evening as they folded linen in silence. Amara smiled faintly. "For now, I do." Clara studied her. "No, you're just passing through." Those words stayed. Ethan's world, on the other hand, was built on control and cracks. His business partner, Daniel Sullivan, was charming, persuasive, and dangerously ambitious. Where Ethan was cold, Daniel was warm. Where Ethan calculated, Daniel improvised. Together, they built an empire. But ambition has a scent. And betrayal follows it closely. The night everything shifted came without warning. Rain hammered against the glass windows as a heated argument echoed through Ethan's office. Contracts, missing funds, whispers of disloyalty. Daniel's voice was calm. Too calm. "You don't trust anyone, Ethan. That's your weakness." "My weakness," Ethan replied coldly, "is not cutting people off soon enough." But the truth was murkier. Because the missing funds. The suspicious transactions. They pointed somewhere unexpected. Downstairs. To a name Ethan barely remembered. Amara Dawson. She didn't even understand what was happening when they called her upstairs. The accusations came fast. Cold. Sharp. "You've been accessing restricted areas." "I haven't." "Money is missing." "I didn't take anything." Ethan's gaze was unforgiving. "You were seen near the office." "I clean there," she said, her voice shaking. Silence. Then the final blow. "You're dismissed. No investigation. No proof. Just judgment." Amara's world collapsed in that moment, not because she lost the job, but because something deeper broke. Trust. Dignity. Hope. She looked at Ethan one last time. Not with anger. But with something worse. Disappointment. "You didn't even ask," she whispered. And then she left. In the rain. With nothing but her small bag, and a heart that refused to shatter completely. Years passed. Time did what time always does. It moved. But it never forgot. The city buzzed with a new name. Amara Dawson. Founder. Investor. Visionary. Her company rose from nothing, built on grit, intelligence, and an unbreakable will. She learned. She fought. She sacrificed. And she won. The girl who once walked silently through marble halls now walked into boardrooms where men like Ethan Blake sat, and commanded respect. Ethan's empire, meanwhile, began to crumble. Daniel's betrayal finally surfaced. Millions siphoned. Deals sabotaged. The truth hit too late. Amara had been innocent. The realization didn't just shake Ethan. It haunted him. Because for the first time in years, he felt something. Regret. Real, suffocating regret. Their worlds collided again in a high-stakes business meeting. Ethan walked in first. Confident. Controlled. Until she entered. Amara. Elegant. Powerful. Untouchable. Their eyes met. And everything changed. She didn't flinch. Didn't lower her gaze. Didn't acknowledge the past hanging thick between them. To her, he was just another man in the room. And that broke him more than anything else. Their interactions were sharp. Controlled. Professional. But beneath it, unfinished emotions burned. "You've done well," Ethan said quietly after one meeting. Amara looked at him. "I had to." A pause. Then, calmly, "Some of us don't have the luxury of being wrong about people." That landed hard. The truth finally unraveled completely when Daniel's crimes were exposed publicly. Evidence. Confessions. Everything. Amara's name was cleared, years too late. Ethan stood before her one last time, not as a powerful man, but as a flawed one. "I was wrong," he said. "No excuses. No pride. Just truth." Amara studied him. "I know," she replied. Silence stretched between them. "I can't undo it," he added. "No," she said softly. "You can't." Another pause. "But you can become better." That was his redemption. Not her forgiveness. Not her return. But her truth. Ethan changed. Not overnight. But genuinely. He rebuilt his company with integrity. Treated people differently. Listened more. Controlled less. Because losing Amara taught him something no success ever had. People are not replaceable. Amara moved forward. Stronger. Wiser. At peace. And love found her again, not in chaos, not in control, but in understanding. A quiet, steady kind of love. The kind she deserved all along. Years later, their paths crossed once more, not in tension, but in calm. Two people. Changed by the same past. Walking different futures. Ethan smiled faintly. "You became everything you said you would." Amara returned the smile. "No," she said gently. "I became everything you thought I couldn't." And that was the truth. Sometimes, the people we break don't just heal. They rise. And when they do, they don't come back. They move forward. Beyond reach. Beyond regret. But if there's a lesson here, it's this. Value people while you have them. Because growth can take someone far beyond where you left them. And redemption, it doesn't always come with a second chance. If this story touched you, you already know what to do. Subscribe. Share it with someone who needs it. And tell me, where are you watching from?